When I was a weapons inspector with the United Nations, that was part of the United Nations Special Commissions. We were looking for weapons of mass destruction, termed WMD, in Iraq. There's a lot of concerns about nuclear weapons falling into the wrong hands and ultimately could be used by terrorist groups or be ferried out to nations that would ultimately use them against other countries on a state-on-state attack. When you get put on a team United Nations, you are not UK military, you're there as a member of the United Nations Special Commission. So you are answering directly to the chief inspector, which was a guy called Richard Butler, an Australian guy who was running the teams when I joined, so that was 97, 98. And I remember flying in to Baghdad, on air base to the south of Baghdad, and we got bussed into Baghdad itself, and our first stop was in their version of the Home Office, okay? So we went in and we were waiting to be briefed. We were told that it might be a very important person, a VIP coming in from the Ba'ath Party. We didn't know who. So all of a sudden, you could see fear in the guards' faces in the room. And it was quite a large room. We were just sat on plastic chairs. We had our day sacks with us, and we just had notepads with us as well, just to sort of jot anything down that might be useful, logistical bits and bobs. And all of a sudden, in walks Saddam Hussein. And hellfire, literally the hairs on the back, not just my neck, but everybody. You could see goosebumps on everybody, including the chief inspector, you know. It was, and he'd met him before. And it was, I use the analogy that it was a bit like in watching the Harry Potter movies when the Dementors come into the room and suck the living heebie-jeebies out of it. It was like that. It just felt evil. It was like as if the devil himself had just come into the room. And you could see the fear, the complete fear in the Iraqis that were there, let alone what we were feeling, you know, and it was just a really sort of a menacing presence. So that was the most scared I have ever been. He'd already invaded Kuwait, you know, he'd already done, you know, the war against Iran, which lasted for 8 years in the 1980s. The fact that he'd used chemical weapons against the Kurds in the north and the Shias in the south. This is, you know, this is the devil himself, basically. He's not afraid of anyone. And that was quite apparent. You realize the significance of what we were doing and the risk that we were taking, you know, at that time. It really was quite treacherous.